Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we've got an interesting guy, and he said he squashes teddy bears for a living, so that's going to be an interesting topic of conversation. But as usual, we'll see where it flows and just take it from there. Nice to have you here today.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's didn't expect to be doing an interview right now, like to be on a podcast, but yeah, I guess this is it.
So tell us about yourself. How did you get into the art of squashing teddy bears? Where did the idea come from, and what motivates you?
Oh, well, I've always been into art my whole life. My nan used to work in an art school, so I was always had art around me growing up. And when I was younger, I was just generally always into art, and like my parents would always like get me into doing stuff. And
what kind of art?
So mostly like that sort of like pop art and stuff like that. There's an artist called Stephen Wiltshire that my nan used to know. He's like I believe he's an autistic artist he goes up in like helicopters so you can see like whole cities, and then he goes down and he can remember every single thing.
Oh, there's that black guy.
Yeah, him. That's Stephen Wiltshire. That's him.
Okay. I saw him on the news once.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. But I've always been into art essentially. But when I was in my sort of like teenage years, I sort of drifted away from just doing like standard sort of like drawing and
landscape and portrait.
That sort of thing. And then I went into doing graffiti for a bit, and I did that for a good couple years with some friends, and then it got to the point where I was not really scared, but a lot of my friends got caught. One of my friends got arrested, and it got to the point where I was like, do you know what?
If you had carried on, you could have been Banksy 2 or Banksy number 1, innit?
Oh yeah. Well, weirdly, Banksy's been doing stuff a lot longer than I've been alive.
How old is he?
He's like, I believe he's like 56. Yeah, Banksy sort of moves in silence essentially. If that's what you meant, like he's a pretty difficult guy to get hold of, say that, and to work with and to talk with. And
have you met him before?
I've met the fake Banksy.
So someone's going around calling themselves the fake Banksy?
No, he pays people to pretend to be him.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so that's not a lot of people know that.
He learns something every day.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people want to know who Banks is. It's like I personally think it's one of the world's biggest secrets, essentially. Like, who is Banksy? Like, he's known all around the world. So sort of like, I think it's sort of, a lot of people want to know who he is, basically. Pardon?
He pays people
to say that they're Banksy, yeah.
So you went from graffiti, so were you just tagging or murals or?
So a lot of the people I was with at the time was just doing like standard sort of writing their name on a wall, and I did do that for a bit, but then it sort of evolved into it started a while back when I was waiting at a bus stop, and this guy was having an argument on the phone, and he turned around and said to someone that he spoke to on the phone, like whoever he was talking to must have given him an ultimatum, because he turned around and said to us that I love you, but I love the dog more.
I like that.
And I don't know what it was, like something in my head, I just burst out laughing. I was in a terrible mood at the time, and I just burst out laughing when I heard him say that, like, because he said it with like such strength in his voice. And I think she
love the dog.
Yeah, he's like he just said it. It was like he's like I've got to say, he's like, I love you, but I love the dog more. And it's just like, and I was like, fuck, like that. Sorry, mama language. And I was just like, that. I feel like I had to do something with that. So it's a bridge down in. There was a bridge down in Vauxhall.
That could be put in a song. I love you.
Yeah.
I love the dog more.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, but yeah, like.
You said it's down in Vauxhall.
Yeah, so that's where I grew up. I'm from Stockwell originally.
Oh, is it?
Started writing stuff I've overheard people saying on walls where I saw them, like heard them say it.
That's good.
So
you just write it in big letters.
Yeah. I just write it like literally like just in one long line. So I love you, but I love the dog more.
Yeah.
And that one was only there for about a week, which was a bit annoying. But I wish I took photos of it. But it was at a time when I didn't have a camera phone because I didn't have the money. My family didn't really have the money for me to have a camera phone at the time. So I never really documented a lot of it. The only time I've ever seen something that I've done from someone else, like from that sort of like time period, was in the background. There was like a Danny Dyer documentary on gangs, and he's in like local park, and you can see something I've done in the background. But that's the only thing that I can remember seeing from something. But
would you want to be anonymous or famous?
To be honest, I was doing it for a bit of fun, and I guess that was sort of like the early start to me becoming a full-time artist. That was almost maybe a triggering point in my life, because I didn't know what I wanted to do growing up. I think I wanted to be a footballer when I was that age, but I used to do graffiti on the side. Like, it's great bit of cardio if you ever get chased by someone.
Yeah.
You're doing a bit of graffiti,
Yeah.
is it? You just leave them for dust, you know? They're not catching you.
No, I hear you saying, yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to be a footballer at the times. But I guess maybe that was sort of a turning point in my life where I was like, this is potentially I want to do art. Because at the time as well, I was in college. I had this teacher called Ian Rogers.
What college?
Lambeth College in Clapham. Yeah, I guess that guy sort of changed my ways of looking and changed my life. He basically said to me, he was like, look, like, this isn't just fun, you could be like a proper artist, basically. And it's sort of like, I don't know, like, it's weird to say, but I guess he's sort of like one of my heroes because he sort of changed my life, you know? It's like a big point in my life for me with Ian. But yeah, like, from that sort of moment, I went on and I was like, do you know what, yeah? I'm going to go to uni and do art. I don't know what the hell sort of art I want to do. I'm going to do some art.
So you was doing art in college?
Yeah. So because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school, so I was like, I'll do art. Well, because I can still play football. So, and then yeah, I just sort of got really into art, and then yeah, here I am now. I guess it sort of spiraled. I worked for a gallery after I left uni, so I went to Croydon School of Art for 3 years, and then I
take it you graduated?
Yeah, graduated, done my 3 years, got my little certificate, wore my little square hat. Yeah, and I worked for an art gallery called Pure Evil Gallery, which is in Shoreditch, near Old Street Station, and I worked there for 5 years. So, because Pure Evil, he's like a street artist. He was anonymous for years.
Pure Evil, that's his name?
Yeah, he calls himself Pure Evil. His real name's Charlie. Like, you can find it on Google there. It's not like a secret.
What kind of artwork does he do?
He does like pop art. So he does like paintings a bit like Andy Warhol.
Right.
But he like...
For me and the listeners who are not up to speed on terms, when you say pop art, what is that?
Artwork that revolves around popular culture. So like Marilyn Monroe and Coca-Cola, films, just that sort of thing. So he did a lot of portraits of celebrities and stuff, and he's worked with people. He's done a lot of stuff all over the world, and I guess he sort of pushed me. I got really comfortable in the job I was at because I made like pretty good money for what I was doing, and I was his assistant for years.
And he said he wants more of you.
At one point, the turning point for me was when I left. Was I slipped down the stairs there years ago, and I was walking around with like a smashed up ankle for 2 years. So I had to have time off work after a while because they was like, after I had an MRI, and it was like, no, your ankle's like smashed in like 8 places, and I was just like, oh, that explains why it hurts when I walk. So I had to have 8 weeks off to recover. During that time, I don't know, just something in me was just like, I don't want to work at this gallery forever. I want to be a proper artist. And then when I told him, he was just like, I don't know why you haven't left sooner. Because at the time I was selling work in his gallery. And
so he could see your potential.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it was probably one of the saddest moments of my life, like leaving that gallery. Like I loved the guy. Like, he was like one of my best friends, you know, like working for him. It's not often you can say that your boss was
someone
your friend, you know, like
you get that in professions of passion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if you look at boxers, Mike Tyson and the old Italian guy, his father figure.
Yeah.
You know, those things, normal everyday jobs. So you left that company. You started to do your own thing.
Yeah, so I started just before the pandemic. I was like, you know what? Everyone seems to love me squashing teddy bears, so I started squashing teddy bears, all different shapes and sizes, different characters: Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Pikachu, just anything with a cute face could get squashed, really.
Okay, so where your stuff is? Are you on Instagram, website?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Rhys Marcus Brown, RHYS, like Rhys spelled like that, the Welsh way, even though I'm not Welsh. My parents were just being awkward. Rhys Marcus Brown, RHYS MARCUS BROWN, and you'll see that on there if people want to have a look. So yeah, because it's a bit of a weird one to squash teddy bears.
So where did you get this idea to squash teddy bears?
Well,
do you have a favourite teddy bear and you just thought,
I wish it was that simple, but it literally I'd squash my very first teddy bear in college because I hated scratching into metal. We had to do like etching, which is like where you scratch into metal and then you like roll ink on it and then squash it onto paper. And I really didn't, I hate the feeling of it. It made me like feel like shivers go down my body. And I was like when the teacher went home. Yeah, exactly, like that. And I was like, and then when the teacher went home, I was like, do you know what, I'm not bloody continuing this. I grabbed a teddy bear, squashed it and put it through an old printing press. Printing press that's like 300 years old that I should have been a lot more careful with. I didn't break it, But I could have broke the thing with the teddy bear's eyes and everything like that. Yeah, like
eyes
but
are marbles or something, isn't it?
yeah. They're like this like weird plastic glass, like. But yeah, like, and it sort of just happened from that, and it sort of was born from that. And I just put them aside for years. Then I put them in the gallery I was working at, and then we sold the whole lot within a day. And I was like,
really?
What the hell?
How much did you sell? So you're printing it on canvas?
These ones were on paper to start, so I do both paper and canvas. But the ones I've done was on paper, and we sold them for 150 quid, and I sold like all 6 of them in a day. Yeah. So
Really?
yeah, and then I was just like, wow. And then I had people messaging me saying, can you do me one in pink? Can you do me one in black?
Yeah, because they're all going to be unique, even if it's the same teddy bear.
Yeah, exactly, because the positioning of them, like the way their face is, their angling, it all sort of...
Have you thought about, I don't know if you've done it already, reaching out to the Far East for their kind of market? Because those guys love those kind of things.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I've been working a lot with people in like Taiwan, Japan. Currently just sold my first painting in China the other day, so which is quite a big one to break the Chinese market. So I was quite happy with that. It's quite, so that's like, they do really well out there. Believe it or not, most of my sales actually go to Japan and America. Like I haven't really had much in the UK recently, but a lot to America and Japan. Kind of nice, the idea that I've got work all over the world. Like I think the place where I never expected to send something to was someone like Zimbabwe, because I never thought I'd end up, like I was obviously extremely happy to send something to there, but it's like at that point when I saw that I sold something to someone in Zimbabwe, I was like, who the hell saw me in Zimbabwe? You know,
the internet makes the world a small place, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was just like, do you know what? And I sort of loved it as well, because that's where my teacher was from, the one that I said that sort of changed my life.
He's boasting about you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it's something to do with him. I questioned if it was something to do with him, but yeah, that teacher Ian, he's such a character. He's like a bald guy with like a glass eye, and he lost his eye going into a fire to save one of his paintings, and one of the ashes from his paintings went in his eye. How much is that? Like you're in pain for your art. Like
dedication.
That is like a real artist right there, you know. Like
shot you or,
like Van Gogh. Yeah.
Even though he didn't know it's going to happen. But
Fun fact: Van Gogh didn't chop his ear off. Someone else cut his ear off. So yeah, he got.
He was in a knife fight.
No. So, because he got literally bullied, because people saw him as like this crazy guy, because he suffered from like he had schizophrenia, and he had like other mental problems, because he used to lick his paintbrushes that had lead in them, so it turned him a bit crazy, and to make the sharper points, and it made him go a bit loco, and he essentially got lead poisoning, and people used to get angry with him and like beat him up and stuff, and like pin him down and cut his ear off. That's what someone done, like they cut his ear off. That's what they go from, the way the ear was cut. Someone said the way it was, it didn't look like he could have done it himself.
Because when you're holding a knife like that or holding it like that.
Yeah. So it's the angling of the blade on the back, like the way it was, like they could tell that someone else done it. So
there was a couple of questions I was going to ask you. One was, how on earth do you manage to afford living squashing teddy bears? But you've answered that question.
Yeah.
£150 a pop. The missus is just sitting there and saying, I'm okay. Nowhere. The other one is, explain the process, without obviously giving away your top secrets, of how this whole teddy bear printing works.
So I use, rather than just using like a standard paint, which a lot of people assume it is, I use block printing, which is a lot stickier, and you can apply a lot thinner on it. I don't mind just completely saying it, because if people want to do it, they can. I've got a couple copycats out there, but I don't mind. If it makes them money, good for them, but good on them. But I literally roll the ink very, very thinly on top of the bears, because so they don't come out as blobs, so it catches all the detail of the fur, and that's how I do it. And some of the bears I've done are like over a metre tall, so they was really hard to do. I literally have to like almost like hold.
And you're doing this on canvas, not t-shirts?
No, not on t-shirts, on canvas. And then I'll after stretch the canvases after. Yeah.
My mistake, because I assumed it was t-shirts.
No.
That people would wear.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? But one side of the teddy bear on the front of the t-shirt and the other side on the back.
Yeah.
So maybe something you could do.
I've done one. I've got one t-shirt I've done for myself. I was going to give them away to people when they bought my stuff, but it's so weird, because I started doing this when just before the pandemic happened, and I decided to go full-time artist at the worst time possible, I guess.
Why?
Because a lot of sales went down because of people wasn't buying art at the start of the pandemic. Like, I felt like it was really hard.
It's like diamond stuff on the
bears.
They look really shiny and pretty.
Yeah, I put like crushed glass on top of some of them, so they look like they're like sparkling. And
very creative.
Yeah, they're pretty. Some of those are pretty. You got to be careful with them because when the sort of glass sticks to the canvas, you move quick, it like slices up your arm.
Yeah, and also your client, you've got to explain to your client.
Yeah. Most of the time, like, I put like something on it so it sort of like sticks it down really like well.
Like a wax membrane or something?
It's like a fixative I spray over the top of it. It's almost binds it. It's like a very thin layer of resin.
But will it cut the client if someone brushes against it?
Well, they shouldn't be touching the actual artwork on the front. But I have said to people, like, be very careful with them.
Give a warning kind of
piece
of paper.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, if there's like some spilt on the floor in my studio, like, I'll kneel down and I'm like, oh, I've got lots of little holes in my knee. Because it's tiny, like, it's almost like, it's bigger than like sugar, like the shards of glass, but like, yeah, it's not really nice. Sometimes you get stuck in your knee and you're like, there's like I have lots of little dots all over my legs sometimes where I've like laid down and got a glass in me, but yeah, it's a bit of a weird one to talk about. But
well, having the lovely lady, the wife, as a corporate lawyer, you'll go far.
Yeah.
She'll tick all look at the way she's looking at you. She'll just tick all the right boxes, make sure everything's in place, and away you go.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet?
Tinder.
Yeah, we met on Tinder.
We're not married.
We're not married.
Yeah.
We've only just started sort of seeing each other. Like, literally, like, I just want. I guess the message I sort of want to put to the world is that there's always that little bit of you. Like, always be the version of yourself that the younger version of you would have loved. Like, make the younger version of yourself proud. I guess I sort of try to remind people when they're younger to give them to show them like how far they've come in their lives. Like, to some people, they feel like they might not have done much in their lives, but it's like, if you think of everything you've overcome in your life from when you was younger to what you've done today, you've done a lot. Even if to you it doesn't necessarily mean much, but if you sat down and wrote down every single positive impact you've had on your life and other people's lives, you'd realise how much of a difference you've made.
Well, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
And we wish you well.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, this has been a unique experience.